my Sagittarian Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus signs. Welcome to your work, career, vocation read for August and September 2021. I am your reader, Mark Angelo Lyons. Mal, for short. Got Mal? Professional witch, professional intuitive, president of DrawingTheCircle Productions since 1998. Author of Words of Grace from a Professional Witch, now available on Kindle. The Archangel of Lyons, Mark Angelo Lyons. But you can call me Mal. Hi. Happy to be doing the readings today. Survived Henri rather well, I have to say. I'm a witch. Weather magic. Being an event planner since the 90s and a witch. Oh, yeah. Not so much control of the weather, but certainly blessing and influence goes a long way. That being said, let's talk about you. We are doing a 12-card spread called a 3 Levels of Power spread oriented towards your life purpose as seen through the lenses of work, career, and vocation. 3 Levels of Power. There's a link in the description box by Carolyn Myss, PhD, MYSS. This is her archetype deck. Talking about the 3 levels of power, and they are like 3 lenses at which you can look at many things in your life. In this case, as I said, your life purpose, work, career, and vocation. I've been doing these readings for clients for decades. They're very helpful because a lot of people work, but they're not necessarily fulfilled. So looking at that is my honor and my pleasure to do these, to help people come and do what they came in to do in this life. Yeah. Find out what they're best at and what they love. That being said, it is a general read. Take what resonates, leave what doesn't. And if you want one of those reads privately, I made a video booking a reading with Mal, not just how to book me, but what goes on before, during, and after as my sacred service to this world, and something that I get a great deal of fulfillment from because I have my work, career, and vocation, all 8 chakras involved of them, in alignment every day, and it wasn't easy. It was not easy. But, you know, you want something done, to go to somebody who's done it already. Yeah. That being said, both feet on the floor if you can. Focus on your breath if you will. And do, by the way, check on your other signs, because I've noticed in these readings, since I started doing them on YouTube, that there are 3 levels of power. Usually there's one where your leverages, like tweak that, and the other 2 tend to come into alignment a little bit more. And that can be different. Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus signs. Yeah. Okay, I guess that's about it. Both feet on the floor if you can. Focus on your breath if you will. I will do the same to get you the clarity, guidance, and grace that I can about your life purpose. And for the Scorpio Collective, all the decks that I read are always in the bottom of the description box, along with some other cool links, my Vimeo on demand stuff, my book, etc. Otherwise, please take a nice deep breath. And here we go, my Sagittarians, my 9th house Jupiter beings of light, as I call upon my collective pantheons of angels, archangels, goddesses, gods, ascended masters of life purpose through the lenses of work, career, and vocation, and the higher selves of all involved. For the Scorpio Collective, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus signs in their work, career, vocation, 5th dimension and above, 8th chakra and above. Let's start with their work. Lower 3 chakra dynamic, but what's the 8th chakra archetype at work in their work? Their survival, intuition, what they do, how to survive. August and September 2021. How about their career? Heart, throat, third eye, crown dynamic. The internal, right? Their passion, their hunger, their thirst, what lights them up, their psychological world, their feminine energy, their inside world behind their eyes. What's the 8th chakra going on for their career? Their creative intuition would be inspired by that. And what about their vocation? 8th chakra archetype, 8th chakra dynamic, their spiritual calling, their mystical power, not just spiritual power. That's in heart, throat, third eye, crown. We're talking 8th chakra over the head, the star center, the soul center, the home of the archetypes. The pantheons of pantheons abide. Please, what is their 8th chakra archetype? Oh, no, it's this one for their vocation. August, September 2021. Now, all 3 of these are already in the title. Let's see how brave you are. Well, very brave. Just for that one in the career, I'm going to say that's a tricky one that most people would not watch if they saw it, but nonetheless, it starts off with the Messiah. Now, the Messiah is a long story. It's a long story. Look into the origins of the words. Going to leave you with that. Words change meaning over time, but I think it's often helpful to find the root of it in your work here. Definitely a divine family archetype of the 9 families. In your career, you've got the addict archetype, but I gotta say, everybody has an archetype, a reason, a season, or a lifetime. Even if you are not the addict, this could be somebody else's addict, but you're learning how to deal with them. All right? In your career, and everybody has their addictions. Reason, season, or lifetime, everybody has their addictions. And lovely and interesting in your vocation, you've got the Scribe archetype. By the way, the addict is the wild card family. The Scribe is the wisdom family. So there's something here about, maybe it's a journaling, but keep the receipts, so to speak, in terms of your spiritual calling. We'll see what that looks like. Let me read you what's written on the card. There's shadow and light on each, toxic and healthy, lead to gold. We're all somewhere on that spectrum, and with any given archetypal pattern at work in our lives, in our energy fields. And shadow work certainly looks like it's indicated here. The shadow attribute of the Messiah, I will say I have had dances with, not just working in spiritual organizations and spiritual businesses, which are sometimes the most toxic situations in the world because they're forcing everyone to face their stuff and heal. But certainly if you are self-employed, exaggerated belief that you are the only means through which a cause can succeed. The self-employed do tend to suffer from Messiah complex in that sense. It's all up to them, and it easily goes into martyr, which is another archetype, also in the divine family, though. The light attribute is one I highly recommend, serving humanity with humility. And in my book, Words of Grace, the first grace and the last grace I talk about is the grace of humility, what I call the maiden grace, followed by the mother and the crone, those 3 gateway goddess graces that open you up to the other graces known and unknown. Grant me the maiden grace of humility to know that I do not know, but I'm willing to be shown. Right? That innocence, that purity. To just serve humanity with humility, even healing your own self in that sense becomes a blessing on humanity, not just because maybe you're nicer and kinder to other people, but through the quantum entanglement of all that is and unity consciousness, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so this could definitely be somebody who's really doing the spiritual work as well. Now, I'm going to tell you, if you are a reader, a professional reader, right? You're taking clients, that sort of thing. Expect tarot junkies if you're good, right? There's a difference between a psychic vampire and a tarot junkie. But if you're really good, you get both in your career. And I teach that stuff in workshops, how to deal with that. Watch Witches and Vampires on the channel. It's a good 2-hour workshop you might want to check out. The shadow attribute, I think we know what that is in any addictive pattern. Compromises integrity and honesty. Allows an addictive pattern to have authority over your inner spirit, even if it's somebody else's. It's called codependency, right? You let someone else's addiction squash your dreams. Make them the reason, the excuse why you can't do, be, and have all that you came to do, be, and have. That's codependence. Only you have to feel good about your choices, and I mean feel good about them. Not necessarily, burning the house down would feel good. That's not what we're talking about. The light attribute helps you recognize and confront addictive behavior, and of course that's within yourself, within others, and maybe in career situations where addictions are being fueled in some way, shape, or form. Lord knows that's rampant as well during this past, let's not just say past year and a half, let's say like for the past century maybe. But the other thing to say here is that, remember, the external addictions are sometimes the easier to catch, right? If someone's an alcoholic, if there's drugs, alcohol, that kind of stuff. And even the external ones, to be addicted to food, oh my God, you have to eat, right? It's like, that's hard. But addicted to work, how about addicted to being right? How about being addicted to approval? How much of that's going on the internet and social media, right? That you are dependent, there's a word for addiction there, dependent upon the approval of the masses to feel good about yourself and your career. Tricky. Particularly if you're burnt out, feeling, if I don't do it, it'll never end. And I'm the only means through which this can succeed. And there can be some addictive patterns of control there as well. Remember, you could be dealing with somebody in this situation, but nonetheless, you're dealing with them. And the Scribe, as I said, interesting place to have it. The shadow attribute Altering facts or plagiarizing others' work. Now, in terms of a spiritual calling, a vocation, you want to watch out for falsifying information anyway, because a lot of spiritual information, a lot of mystical information is just that it's mystical. It's steeped in mystery. Who even knows? You know, I talk about the Ascended Masters. Well, did just some cursory Google searching. Started with Helena Blavatsky, at least the term, the Ancient Masters of Wisdom or something like that. But then, the Ascended Masters are everywhere. But apparently if they are, and I believe they are, they simply exist, that they've been around long before this planet even cooled. Right? You know what I mean? It depends on your definitions of that. But that still doesn't mean there's not a lot of wackadoo crazy out there. Be careful of the information you get, because if it's free, oftentimes you get what you pay for, or you pay for what you get. Preserving knowledge and information. That's what I mean. There's something here about your vocation, of what you're dealing with, because honestly, if you're dealing with addicts in your career, there are addicts everywhere. So what are you learning from this? What can you leave behind as a recorded message? For some of you, it might be the shadow work that you went through as a result of an addict, or with your own addictions. Remember, as one of us heal, all of us heal. Everybody's got an addiction. I grew up with teachers and lawyers. You want to meet people who are addicted to being right. And I love them. But I get it. When your career depends upon you being right, right, it can be a bit of addiction. But keep the receipts here. I can't shake that. Keep the receipts. And some of you know what I mean. Not necessarily financial receipts, but for some of you that might be. That might very much be that. Keep an eye on things. Write things down. Book, shadow, journal, something. Not necessarily through the creative expression. It is a creative family archetype. That would be more like the artist. That's a bit more therapeutic. This more feels like day 364. One more to go with, whatever it is. Take notes. Take notes, take notes, take notes. All right, what's going on inside? These next three cards will be your feminine dynamic. The heart, throat, third, like what we just looked at, are the eighth chakra of your work, career, vocation. This is your internal experience, heart, throat, third eye, crown. Your emotional power, your mental power, your power of choice, your spiritual power. Bringing those into alignment of just, homeostasis, part of holistic health. Let's see what's going on here. Breathe. As I call upon my goddesses of fire and the sign of Sagittarius, please, for the Sagittarian collective, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus signs watching this video, receiving this reading. What's going on inside of them? If there's shadow work or addiction work or any of that stuff needed, because it's in their second column there, the heart, throat, third eye, crown, dominant, dynamic, their career, then what's going on across the board in their heart, throat, third eye, crown? First, the Messiah in their work. What's going on the inner? Please just leave one card in my hand. Thank you. For the addict in their career, they have that in the eighth chakra. What's going on? Heart, throat, third eye, crown for that, which is usually where at least the throat chakra addictions manifest. They also manifest in the second chakra. We'll get to that in the next three cards. But with the scribe in their vocation, almost like automatic writing comes to mind. So if someone's doing automatic writing or something like that, that could certainly apply well there. But don't alter the information, right? Just let it come through. I mean, check for grammar later. But with that shadow attribute of altering facts, I don't know how that plays in here, even if it's for a good reason, or, I don't know, tricky. Altering the receipts somehow does not feel right for this. So what's going on for them? Heart, throat, third eye, crown. Just one card, please. The scribe in the eighth chakra of their vocation. Heart, throat, third eye, crown is. We'll take this one. Good. Okay. I did check. All right. Let's see. Air card. Fire card. Air card. Okay. Two court cards. Now, these are inside of yourself, so certainly check the planets indicated, the signs indicated here. But these are more about the states of the zodiacal houses, right? 1st through 12th house. Now, here with the Messiah, come here, in your 8th chakra, then in your work here is the Libra card, 7th house dynamic, certainly the balance of the mind, right? The scales, cardinal air, creative air, creating that balance within yourself. So I'm going to say, particularly because it's heart, throat, third eye, crown, this is air dominant, so we're looking at not just the third eye here, which is obviously the element of air thought, but the heart, ruled by Venus, right? 7th house dynamic is partnerships, is marriage, but it can also be work partners that way. So a balance here, which if you are really willing to open the heart, balance, you do that by making the choice of the throat, get it? The head may say yes, the heart may say no, or vice versa. Well, you little by little by little make that choice, bring that into balance. You can serve this, you can serve humanity with humility, not just the humans around you. The Addict here, I find this interesting. You've got the Sagittarius card. Now that's Skadi, the North Wind here. Ice Giantess, if I've got my Norse mythos correct. Libra. Cardinal Air. Here you've got Mutable Fire. Caridwen, or Caridwen. I've heard it said a whole bunch of different ways. The Sagittarius card, by the way, this would be the King of Swords. The Libra card, this would be the Knight of Wands, the Crown of Flames, the transformation of Caridwen's cauldron. Here it's a rather intense goddess and a rather intense myth. Certainly a goddess of transfiguration and transformation. But if we go with that 9th house, expansion, right? The element of fire is yearning and burning. And if you think of flaming arrows, right, of the Centaur, a lot of desire in motion here, a lot of different things that you want here. Now with the Addict archetype, that can be problematic. However, the vibe that I'm getting here is that if you can expand your mind, see the larger picture, and for some of you understand the definition not just of different addictions, but of addiction in itself, I don't want to say varies, but it varies, right? The best definition I ever heard of it came from Handbook of Higher Consciousness, Handbook for Higher Conscious, Ken Keyes, K-E-Y-E-S, pretty sure, the last name there. And he said that an addiction is just a preference, that if the preference is not met, it causes distress, right? Emotional upset, particularly biologically, physically, right? Distress in some way, shape, that's a paraphrase. So with these desires, with these choices, I'm going to say be very, very, very clear and careful about the choices and the decisions you make. Your throat chakra dynamic here, your willpower. Because you may want many, many, many different things. But the thing about the throat chakra, that's the deadly sin of gluttony, healed by the grace of counsel and the grace of protection. It's in my book, Words of Grace. Like I said, the other is the 2nd chakra. We will check that out as well. Particularly if you have a passionate connection to somebody. Passionate doesn't always mean romantic. With someone, then there is possible there a codependent dynamic as well in your career. We'll see. We'll see. They're just showing me different probabilities here. And remember, it's collective. Thousands, billions of Sagittarians on the planet, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus signs. I hope some of them watch this, because this is important stuff. With the Scribe, you've got the 7 of Blades here in this deck called Meditation. Not the sneaky trying to get in the way, but the stealth, the stillness, the listening. Write down what you're hearing. Record it in some way. This is peace to my mind. Let all my thoughts be still. And let me wait upon the presence of the divine to show me what I need. Right? That I'm really getting. This is going to greatly, obviously, affect the mental dynamics going on in your work dealing with this career thing. I mean, look, dealing with addictive patterns, every work, career, vocation, we come across that. It's false idolism, right? When it's the truth of who we are that would set us free, we look for other things outside. It's just human nature, but we are divine beings coming here. So this really feels like receiving information that you're going to be able to share with people as a result of this. I would just write stuff down in some way or record it, right? You can videotape it yourself. No one has to see your MP4s if you don't want them to. Let's move on. Lower 3 chakras here. I mean, it still feels like this is where... Well, let's see. Let's see where your leverage is. As I call, only half the cards are down as I call upon. Breathe. I am the balancing breath. As I call upon my gods of fire in the sign of Sagittarius, please what do you got? From the outside looking in, from the inside looking out, all of that, some of that for the Sagittarian collective Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus signs watching this video, receiving this reading, and didn't even connect that they've got their own card, their Sagittarius card in their career. Kiridwin. That this can very much about them being authentic, them really being that expansive, larger POV on this stuff on the inside. There's such a powerful vibe of spirituality with Sagittarius because of that. What's going on lower 3 chakras here in the work, career, vocation for the Sagittarius collective Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus Sun watching this video, receiving this reading? In their work, they've got the Messiah in the 8th, the Libra card on the outer lower 3 chakras. What's going on in their career? The Addict in the 8th, Sagittarius, their sign. Didn't even see that. Wasn't seeing the larger picture. That might be part of that here. What's going on there? Lower 3 chakras. Yep. And for their vocation, the Scribe in the 8th, the 7 of Blades, perhaps that stealth, but also that silence, that stillness of meditation. Be still and know I am God, I am that I am. What's going on with their vocation there? Lower 3 chakras. Let's see what's going on in the physical world dynamic. And do you just have 3 major arcana cards on the outer? Yes, you do. I think we can go with the spirituality. Yeah. I'm going to say that your vocation is the way to go here, and you'll see why. Okay. In your work, you've got the Messiah with Libra, right? Watch out for the martyrdom aspect of that, even though that's a different archetype. I'm serving humility. I'm serving humanity with humility. Serving total humility, maiden grace, realness here. On the inner, with that balance, that Libra one-on-one partnership certainly indicated here, but with the Tower, something struck by lightning, something struck by truth, something has changed irrevocably in the blink of an eye here. Now, with the Messiah archetype, it could be that in a physical situation, you are certainly the only person who, I don't know, has the details, has the phone numbers, has the thing, so it can't get done without you. And I see that pattern carries over in your career and in your vocation. So we're just going to stick a pin in this right now, because only you can know what that Tower striking is. I think at this point, considering what we've been through in the past year and a half or so in terms of work, career, vocation on planet Earth, with everything stopping and starting as it has, more abruptly than any of us were ready for, certainly a bolt out of the blue, that it's a shock. But I feel like this is something, because that's gone on for a while, this is something different than that, maybe included as part of that, but something that is a game changer on the outer. In your career, like we said, you got the Addict there with your own sign, Sagittarius, which certainly speaks of you being authentic, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus, whatever you have there. But with the Hermit, soft of eye, light of touch, speaky little, listen much, get up into the altitude, right? Really look at the larger picture. Get an understanding of what addictions are. In not just, obviously there's physiological, there's biological, there's cognitive, there's behavioral, right? There's neural pathways and just all of that, and the proverbial side of fries. Get up into the purpose behind them, because the ability to confront it and see it for what it is. Now look, I am not an addiction counselor. I am a spiritual counselor. I have people that I send people to. Right, it's called a talent bank. I learned that from Deepak Chopra. Right, it's like I'm by law, not allowed to even diagnose or really look at any of that stuff. Although sometimes it's blinking over somebody's head, but certainly you don't have to exchange spirituality for psychotherapy or psychology. Right. In fact, Carl Jung said that really you can't do one without the other. You need both. I forget the exact quote. Look it up. Forever young. So this Hermit time, pulling back. Take care of you, Kit DeLuca. And certainly with your own authenticity here, maybe there's some shadow work going on in your own heart, third eye crown here, perhaps dealing with an addict. Or it can even be a situation that is constantly draining you. particularly with that Messiah archetype. I see you pulling back even more here in your vocation, to an extent, a different type of extent. This is where your leverage is. Scribe in the 8th, 7 of blades, right? Like the 7 of swords, there's a little bit of that stealth there, there's a little bit of that secrecy there. But here, I mean, we have a woman ice fishing. Of course she's being secret. She doesn't want the fishies to know she's there, right? But there is that stillness, there is that silence, hence the word meditation with the Hierophant. Now, if this is you from the outside, I think all 3 of these are from the outside. Well, the Tower might be you from the inside looking out, right, at your physical work, and you're maintaining that balance, but feeling like can't succeed without you. We've covered that. This really feels the Hermit and the Hierophant are from the outside looking in at you here, and you going through a stage of, well, I like the word upgrade. I know it's really technical, but no one becomes a high priest or high priestess overnight. I was a high priest, elder, done. Stick a pitchfork in it. I am done. But it's not easy. It is certainly not easy. This is about formalization. This is about stages of growth, of hierarchy, of systems, of promotion. But with this scribe, that it's your vocation. This could be you dealing with a spiritual teacher, healer, leader of some kind, high priest, high priestess, whatever. Gender need not, well, gender will probably apply somewhere, but, you know, need not for a general reading certainly go there. As well as this could be you learning. I mean, with the scribe, take notes, keep your receipts. I've been doing Course in Miracles again. That's 365 lessons. I just got to part 2 of the workbook. So excited. More than halfway through, I think. So something structured here. I just feel like if you're doing automatic writing, do automatic writing. Like, that's for somebody. Like, whatever your higher calling is, because your calling is just different than your career, but you bring that into alignment, it will certainly open the floodgates to fulfill whatever is needing fulfilling. Where an addiction, well, is an addiction always about healing pain? Well, it feels like there's something here that as you keep record of it in some way, shape, or form, there's a real potential for your authentic healing here, but it's Hermit. You need to get above everybody else, and I don't mean better than, I mean higher altitude, especially with that Sagittarius authenticity of wanting to experience the larger picture of things, that Jupiterian vibe there. Which will, of course, bring you into balance with this lightning bolt that hits either you really getting it, with that Messiah archetype, like I said, Divine Family archetype, and that brings you into balance. It's like, oh, this couldn't happen any other way. This is part of my divine plan. This is part of what I came here to do. Last 3 cards down, the Healing Mantra deck by Matt Kahn. I'm just going to recommend, write down both the names of the mantras, which are on one side of the card, and the mantras themselves on the other. I'm not reading from the bookie book this time around, because there are 3 of them, and these readings are hella long as is. But I feel like this is pretty high test stuff. This is pretty high voltage. Particularly when you see 3 major arcana cards from the outside, you know, lower chakra dynamic. Breathe. Yeah, as I call upon the ascended masters of life purpose through work, career, and vocation, please, what are the 3 perfect healing mantras for the Sagittarian collective, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus, and particularly in their work? They've got, well, and in their vocation, they've got air cards there. So something mental to get them started, and then we'll see what they do with that one in the throat chakra there in their career. But they've got the Messiah in the 8th chakra of their work, Libra on the inner, Cardinal Air, King of Swords with the Tower, Poseidon, the Earth Shaker, the Lightning Bolt. What's the perfect mantra for the Saggies in their work, for their career? They've got the Addict in the 8th, the Sagittarius card on the inner, Kerwidwin, Knight of Wands in traditional tarot, with the Hermit on the outer, not just pulling back, but getting up. Going up, and because we have Kronos here, taking the time that they need here. Please, what is their perfect healing mantra for their career? And lastly, for their vocation. They've got the Scribe on the inner, 7 of Blades, meditation, stillness, silence, but also a bit of stealth there. No one else needs to know that they're doing this. But with that Hierophant on the outer, either them as really being promoted, upgraded, elevated, initiated into something higher, or them really in some kind of phase of study where things get formalized in some way, shape, or form. What's their perfect healing mantra then for their vocation? All of this August, September 2021. Oh, my favorite one you end with. All right, here we go. We got some inflammation and we need to talk about it. In your work, you've got the Messiah and the 8th, keeping this balance inside of you. Remember, this is 7th house, partnerships, one-on-one relationships, but with the Tower and unraveling codependence. Only I have to feel good about my choices. Didn't I say that before? Only I have to feel good about my choices. Right? Unraveling codependence. Codependence is one of the 4 ego wounds. Abuse, neglect, codependency, and loss, right? But those are ego wounds. They're written into the life before the soul comes in and incarnates, sort of like a park course for the soul, these human lives, right? So only I have to feel good about my choices. In terms of my work, lightning has struck. The light, I have seen the light, and it has changed everything. So I'm going to maybe keep to myself here a bit, but only I have to feel good about my choices. It's like I said, if it all comes down to you, if other people aren't carrying their weight, right, particularly if there's an addict involved, where it always turns to you that you can't pursue your dreams and do what you came here to do, it's an addiction. It's called codependence, and I wish people would really look into, because that word started out very specifically in the long ago. Certainly I was introduced to it by Codependent No More, Melody B. Brilliant work, and a lot said on that work as well. But to understand that only I have to feel good about my choices, and again, when I've read this to people, done this in readings, they say, well, what if I just would feel good at slapping them across the face? I'm like, no, that wouldn't feel good. And that might be here too, particularly with your next mantra. We will get there. All right. So only I have to feel good about my choices in my work. In your career, you've got the Addict, Sagittarius with the Hermit. Well, resolving anger, conflict reminds me when I need space for myself. The Hermit card much? This Sagittarius is you're probably furious. But I would say that this fury has more to do with unresolved stuff in your own energy field. Perhaps you're an empath, picking up other people's anger, right? To resolve anger. Even the Course in Miracles says that, what is it? Anger is never ultimately justified because you're doing this to yourself, right? How much of the stories that we tell inside of ourselves. If somebody's not seeing something so clearly here, right? Hence an addiction in general. Creating a false idol, a dependency. Again, this could be somebody you are dealing with. And if someone else is really pulling addictive patterns and not pulling their weight in a career situation, because that's for some of you for sure, it's okay to be angry. But the Hermit card, conflict, reminds me when I need more space for myself. The Hermit is about taking time, space, rest, and breath for yourself. Yeah, so I'm not seeing a lot of communication going on here. That might very well be your desire with that crone of flame, Sagittarius, just to be incendiary about the whole thing. Flamethrower. Well, Saggies, you're sort of known for it, gotta say. Just comes right out your mouth. But remember, truth without compassion is brutality, says His Holiness, the Dalai Lama. But here, again, gotta say, here is your leverage. Get up into that 8th chakra as the Scribe. Just, I'm here to listen, I'm here to record, I'm here to receive the information, guidance, and grace coming to me through the stillness of meditation. Heart, throat, third eye, crown. Peace to my mind. Let all my thoughts be still. And then just wait, right? Because there's some kind of spiritual download, upgrade, formalization here. Maybe dealing with a ascended master, some way, shape, or form, in physical form, or otherwise perhaps a teaching, if not a teacher. My favorite card in this deck, inviting ecstasy. I am worthy of all the pleasure my heart desires. This is your leverage. Get right with your vocation. For what purpose did you incarnate? Now, you might have reasons and things why we think it is certain things and certainly not. But I'm going to say with the Messiah archetype being humility about it, I don't know. Maybe I'm new once. Things change. I don't know. I'm a healer. Well, then heal thyself, right? I'm a reader. Well, then read yourself. That there's definitely an alignment here. Inviting ecstasy. This is not the card that instantly manifests the vibration of ecstasy. It's inviting it in. But you're doing it this way, not this way. And I'm going to say, ecstasy can really, really heal a lot of addiction issues. And I'm not an addiction counselor. I'm just saying, but when you get that, all that you need really is inside of you. You can have a healthy relationship to pleasure as a result of your own mystical spiritual work that lights you up. And it doesn't mean all of your toxic connections are going to instantly transform and fall away, but you know that you can keep going back to that, particularly when you're getting angry and you want to blast someone's head off. What's your part of it? What's your healing? You heal you. You do you. Because honestly, this is true for everybody. Only I have to feel good about my choices. And if I don't feel good about a choice, I don't make it until I do. And sometimes that's the choice that feels good. But if someone's having power over you, I would love to follow, but I can't because blah, 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 blah. Unravel codependence. And it is an unraveling. It's not a Gordian knot, one sword slash and you're through it necessarily, unless you have it like that in Sagis. If anybody could do it, you could. Of course, you'd probably blowtorch it rather than hit it with a sword. So, look, unraveling codependency, resolving anger, and inviting ecstasy. It sounds like an ABC recipe. Only I have to feel good about my choices. Conflict reminds me when I need more space for myself, and I am worthy of all the pleasure my heart desires. Let me put this together for you in a blessing. Please take a nice deep breath. As I call upon my beloved pantheons of work, career, and vocation, please. May the Sagittarian collective Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus signs watching this video, receiving this reading, be blessed with all that they need in their work, career, vocation, that they may serve humanity with humility, with great internal balance, even in their one-on-one relationships within themselves, that they are very, very, very clear of the mental, emotional balance going on inside of them with that Libra card and the Tower striking on the outer. Unraveling their codependency, because only they have to feel good about their choices, dealing in some way in their career with addiction, helping them recognize and confront addictive behavior with their true Sagittarian authenticity, in some way shining through with that expansion, with that spirituality, perhaps even with some anger and some wrath, deadly sin of the heart chakra healed by the grace of fortitude and the grace of healing, with the Hermit, Kronos, taking the time and the space they need, because conflict reminds them when they need more space for themselves. So in their vocation, they can preserve knowledge and information, seeming to be drawn down, heard, experienced, confronted through a 7 of blades, stillness, meditation, and perhaps even some stealth. No one else needs to know that they're doing this, that in some way elevates them, or is a teaching or a teacher that they become or they deal with in some way, shape, or form in their life, that invites in ecstasy because they are worthy of all the pleasure their heart desires, and with such a strong vocation line here, in order to heal what needs to be healed through rest, through taking space in their career, then they are able to serve humanity with humility, with great balance and great power, though things are changing on a dime like this, unraveling codependency, knowing that only they have to feel good about their choices in this world, doing the best that they can as all as we are. And as they do, may they heal, grow, and become the best that they can be, fulfilling their role in the divine plan and their life purpose, so that we are all so blessed. So mote it be. And so it is. It's a juggernaut read, baby. Scarlet Bands of Sidorak. This is a juggernaut read. Yeah, I just went there. Oh, he's so hot, Juggernaut. So look, if you liked it, like it. Want more, subscribe. Want to book me for a reading? There's a video for that. Want to read my book, Words of Grace? There's a link for that. Want to check my stuff out on Vimeo? There are links to that too there. And certainly, if you like, one of my favorite things on earth is the Angelo Lyons Mal for Short private Facebook group. loving it over there. We all helped each other out through Hurricane Henri, and I gotta tell you, that thing barely touched Holbrook, Long Island, where I live at the moment. So I'm glad we can help each other out for all of that too. So thank you so much for watching, and seriously wishing you the very best and the very best of your work, career, vocation, tricky spread. Reach out for help as needed, my beloveds. Hail. Farewell, and blessed, blessed be.